He's punishing you for having needs. Like, think about that for a second. Like, the very moment you speak up about how you're feeling, about what's not working, about what's hurting you, you're met with silence, attitude, mockery, or worse. Like, he's punishing you for daring to speak. And let me tell you right now, that's not love. That's not partnership. That's control. That's cruelty. That's abuse dressed up as manipulation, and you've been carrying it around like it's your fault. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to help provide clarity and closure inside of your world, helping you understand the toxic relationship you're in and help provide a path to freedom. If you want to know more about that, you can drop a comment, breakthrough down below, and let's have a talk. What we're talking about today is punishment. Because the guy in your world, he's punishing you for calling out his behavior. Like, you might try to have a real conversation about something that's happening. Maybe something that was inappropriate, something that doesn't sit right for you, and then boom. Like, he shuts down, he storms out, he turns the fight around back on you. You're the problem for bringing it up. You're the one causing the drama. You're too sensitive, too emotional. Like, why do you keep bringing up the past? But what's really happening inside of this is he's just avoiding accountability. He doesn't want accountability. He wants your obedience. And when you stop giving that to him, he makes you pay. This is a piece of punishment. Like, it's not always loud. In fact, a lot of times the most dangerous version of this is just quiet. It's kind of like a slow withdrawal, the silent treatment, the short clipped responses, refusal just to answer simple questions, kind of a blank stare when you ask, what's wrong? He shuts off access to his affection, to his words, even his presence, and you start blaming yourself. Like, you start to wondering, what did I do to cause this cold front? You try to fix him, you try to please him, you try to make it right, but it was never about what you actually said. It was about him maintaining power and control over you. And the part that's messed up inside of this is you learn to live inside that tension. You get comfortable with it. You get used to being on edge. You get used to second guessing everything. You feel crazy when he says nothing's wrong while making sure you feel like everything is. Like, he's trained you to be scared of calm. Calm means that it's coming. The punishment is happening, the pullback, the fallout. And when it finally hits you, he acts like you're the one that deserved it. And then there's rage. Like, some of you have seen the explosion. Like, maybe it's yelling, maybe it's throwing things, punching walls, like hitting doors. Maybe, if you're honest, it's gotten physical in your world. If that's your story, I want you to know that you're not crazy and you're definitely not overreacting, because you're not safe. Like, it hasn't just happened yet. Like, it might still happen. Rage is this nuclear option for the narcissist. It's not just blowing off steam. It's a weapon. It's a tactic. It's a way that he's actually teaching and training. Meant to keep you small, meant to keep you scared, because you change yourself to avoid setting him off. You silence your truth in order to keep the peace, to make sure that it's there. That's not actual peace. That's you figuring out a survival tactic. Like, when he's not yelling, the rage is still there. You feel it in the way that you hesitate before you speak. Your stomach kind of pulls up in knots when his car pulls in the driveway. It's the way that you coach yourself through dinner, just trying to not say the wrong thing, to not act the right way, to not have the wrong tone. That's not love, that's fear. And I hate that you have to live this way because of how much it's affecting you. He's going to do it with sarcasm, the passive-aggressive digs, the jokes with a knife inside. Like, he says something cruel, you react, and he tells you, lighten up. Can't you take a joke? But it wasn't a joke, it was a message. A message that says, I can mock you, and you still sit here. And when you push back, he plays the victim. He calls you too dramatic, too controlling, too emotional. But what he really means is you're too close to seeing the truth of who he actually is. He's going to humiliate you in private. He's going to humiliate you in public. Maybe you're out with friends, family, coworkers, and he drops something private, something that's painful, something that's vulnerable. He might say with a smirk, and everybody laughs awkwardly while you shrink inside and brush it off, pretending that it's funny, pretending that it didn't sting, but it did. That's exactly why he said it, because every time he shames you in front of other people, he reinforces one thing. You're not safe anywhere. He reinforces that he still controls you, not even around other people that should protect you. And worse is when some of them laugh with him, they see the performance and they don't actually see the pain. He punishes you in ways that make you question your reality, makes you question your memory, question your value, question your voice. And it's so subtle. It's such a pattern that you see as over time you start doing the work for him. Like you silence yourself, you walk on eggshells, you adjust, adapt, you shrink, you apologize, not because you're wrong, but because you've been trained to think that peace was your job to maintain. You have to act and show up a certain way. That's where there's smear campaigns, there's whispers, there's rumors. The little concerns he shares with friends and family, the way he asks for prayer requests in church, like he starts planting seeds of doubt into people in your world that you love, painting you as the unstable one, the dramatic, ungrateful. And you don't even realize it until people start looking at you differently, kind of pulling away, questioning your reality. And when you try to speak your truth, it just sounds like damage control. And that's the trap when he smears you, is he cuts your credibility before you even know that you're in a fight. And when you try to justify it, people are like, you're just bitter. You're just dealing with stuff. Like some of you are in that right now. Like you're watching people take his side, believing his version of the story about you. And it's devastating. But I need you to hear, like, their belief in him doesn't make him right. Their distance pulling away from you doesn't make you crazy. It just shows how deep his manipulation goes and how much it's impacting your world. Like, I haven't even gotten to like threats. There's stalking, there's intimidation, there's legal harassment, the slow drive-bys, the fake accounts that he keeps messaging you from unknown numbers, calling you. Like, this is where it gets even darker, where he's no longer trying to win you back at this point. Just break you down to make you feel unsafe, unmoored, isolated. Like this is where punishment becomes a campaign of like, this is what he wants to do. And if that's what you're facing, I want you to know that there is a way out. There is help. Like you don't have to go through this in silence because it's one of the most difficult and hardest things to do. And just when you think that you're getting free, he starts posting the new supply. The new girl, the new relationship, the new soulmate that he found, all the photos, all the captions. This is what real love feels like. It's all a show. It's not about her. It's about punishing you. It's about making you feel like you were disposable, you were replaceable. He's already forgotten you. But the truth inside of it, he's not happy. He's just performing. He's putting on a new mask. She's not special. She was just the next person in line. And what makes all this even more twisted is how invisible it can be to the outside world. The people outside, they don't see it. They don't understand. Like you're surrounded by people and you still feel like nobody sees it because he's charming, he's funny, he's helpful in public, he's a great guy. He's the kind of man that holds open the doors, that smiles at strangers, that volunteers at church, and behind the closed doors, he's a terrorist inside your own house. But how do you explain that to other people? Because you just come across as bitter or crazy, just like you're trying to destroy his reputation. That's not how he is. And that's part of the punishment too. He builds a version of himself that no one would believe could be cruel. And you're the only one who's seen the mask drop. You've been isolated, not just physically, but emotionally. Because even when you want to reach out, you don't know how to explain it to other people. Like when you try to bring it up to people are like, are you sure? Like, he seems so nice. Like, I've never had an interaction like that. And it makes you question you all over again. He tries to manipulate and punish inside of money. Let's talk about this one because it can be a favorite weapon for narcissists. You might be financially tied to him. And you know what I mean? Inside of this, every dollar is a leash. He might offer help, but it comes with strings. He'll pay for dinner, but he'll hold it over your head for weeks. Like he'll tell you to quit your job so that you can rest. But what he really means is so you'll depend on me. And the moment you set a boundary, he cuts off your supply. Or he uses the money to buy loyalty from other people, friends, family, and suddenly you're the villain just for asking for fairness. You're going to see this where he'll try to manipulate you more and more and more. And the hard part inside of this is you might still love him. And I get it. That's the mind-bending, confusing piece about all this, is you can be punished, degraded, humiliated, and still feel a pull towards him. That's the trauma bond. That's what happens when the abuse gets wrapped up in affection, when control gets disguised as care. He breaks you down, and then he holds you while you cry. He cuts you down, he makes you feel awful, and then he laughs at you. He tells you no one else is ever going to love you, and then just as you start to believe it, he gives you a crumb of affection and calls it love. All of this is manipulation to keep you stuck, to keep you confused, to punish you. So you stay, not because you're weak, but because you've been rewired. Your brain has been conditioned to equate chaos with connection. The trauma bond is here and it leaves you stuck. And every time you try to pull away, your body screams to go back because you're in a mental and emotional addiction. It's not right. It's just familiar. It's what you're used to. Because it's familiar, this is where you feel like you're crazy. You're not. That's confusion. That's the part of how he keeps you stuck. He has to keep you confused to leave you trapped. He might say, I told you so. You finally get the strength to walk away, maybe move out, maybe start over, maybe even block him. And he watches and he waits. And you might hear through mutuals that you're struggling, that you're dealing with stuff, that things are hard. And instead of compassion, you get a condensation of like, yeah, you thought you could do better. I warned you. And you're just proving my point. You can't do anything without me. And even if he never says out loud, he makes sure that you feel it inside of posting the wins that he has, flaunting his vacations, letting you see him living his best life ever. So you question, should I have actually left? But that life that he's building, it's not real, it's curated. It's a performance for an audience of one, you. And every time you look, every time you click, you're pain shopping. You're trying to see, will this make me feel better? And it never does, because he knows he's still in your head. That's why he's doing it. To keep the punishment going, to keep the hook in your heart and keep pulling you back to him and keep tearing you down. Like, you need to hear this. It's not your job to survive all of his punishments. It's not your job to prove to the world that he's abusive, that he's a toxic person. It's not your job to keep peace by sacrificing your own sanity. Your job here is to heal, to come back to who you are, to unlearn all the lies that he taught. Lies like, you're too much, you're too hard to love, you're crazy, no one's ever going to love a single mom, you're lucky that I stayed. No, you're not too much. He was too little, too small to meet your needs, too insecure to grow, too prideful to make his own mistakes, too damaged to be safe. That's not your fault, that's his. And the punishments that you've endured, they're not reflections of your worth, they're reflections of his fear. His fear of losing control over you, his fear of being exposed, his fear of facing himself, all those things he doesn't want to do. He runs away from it. So you've been blamed for so long that the idea of being innocent feels foreign. But you are. You're innocent in this. You're the one trying to love, trying to grow, trying to build something real. And he took that. He took that effort and he used it against you. He saw your heart and he treated it like that's weak. But your heart isn't the problem. His is. And now you're here. You're listening, you've been learning, you've been waking up to the reality, and that's not nothing, that's the beginning. That's you pulling your power back inch by inch, and maybe it still hurts, maybe you're still triggered, maybe there's a part of you that still wants an apology, a closure, an explanation, but you won't get it from him. He doesn't apologize, he punishes. He doesn't close things, he leaves wounds open so he can get back in and hurt you, because healing would mean you don't need him, and he needs to be needed. He needs you to be broken, because that's the only way he feels whole, is when you feel less than. You don't owe him anything. Not your silence, not access to you, not your understanding. What you owe, what you deserve, is freedom, clarity, closure, peace. Not something that's run by someone else's moods and manipulation. It starts with believing that you deserve better. Not just intellectually, but deep down in your bones, in your soul, that you actually know, I deserve better. You don't need more proof. You've lived it. You don't need more time. You've given it enough time. You don't need to wait until the next punishment and to act. You already know how the story ends because you've lived this cycle over and over. What you need is permission. So if no one's given it to you, let me be the first. You have permission to leave. You have permission to heal. You have permission to choose you. Because you haven't been given that inside your relationship. It's not easy. Leaving sounds like such a simple solution from the outside, but when you spent so long being punished just for having needs, for speaking up, for wanting something different, that kind of decision feels impossible, and there's a lot of nuances to it. Like, it feels like you're ripping your own heart out. It feels like choosing to jump and hoping there's something soft to land on, and you don't know. And I won't lie, inside of the healing, there's pain. There's nights where silence seems really loud. It feels like there's days that you're going to doubt things. It feels like the pain that's there is going to last forever, but it's not permanent. It's the pain of growth. It's the pain of not staying small anymore. It's not the pain of being belittled and broken down. It's the pain of breaking a cycle once and for all. Stepping into something that's new. And pain has an expiration date. His punishments don't. They'll keep coming. See, he wants you to stay confused. He wants you to be off balance, because when you're trying to make sense of the contradictions, how he can be cruel and how he can be tender, how he can love you and how he can insult you, how he can hurt you and then embrace you, you're not focusing on you. That's the game. That's the play. That's the control. That's how he keeps chains on you without realizing that they're even there. You start thinking his reactions are your responsibility. Maybe if you could just be a little bit calmer, a little bit prettier, a little bit more grateful, then he'd stop. But that's the trap. He doesn't stop. He changes the flavor of the punishment, and you get stuck trying to manage his moods instead of figuring out how to protect your peace. You don't need to play that game anymore. You don't need to decode him, to fix him, to forgive him, or keep that connection alive out of guilt or hope. You're allowed to walk away even if he's not finished punishing you. You're allowed to go even if you're shaking, wondering if I can do this. You are doing this because of courage. That's what actually helps you heal. And when you actually start to heal, the lies start to fall away. The lies that he fed you about you being too broken, that no one would love you, the lie that you're hard to live with, the lie that you'll never find better than him. Those were his lies, his insecurities, his limitations. And when you carry them long enough, they start to sound like your own thoughts. They play in your head. That's the damage. That's why it's so hard to leave, because it's not just leaving a person. It's leaving a belief system, a structure that he's built, that's been drilled into you day after day after day, making you think and feel like you're not enough. But let me tell you something that he never will. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not too crazy. You are not broken. You are human. You're a woman who tried, who gave her best, who stayed too long because she had hope. That doesn't mean you're weak or naive or stupid. That means you are loyal. It makes you compassionate. It makes you someone who deserves a love that doesn't punish you simply just for existing. You deserve a relationship, a partner who sees your needs as sacred, not selfish. Who doesn't make you question your reality every time you speak up. Who doesn't weaponize all the vulnerable things you have. Who doesn't punish you for having a voice, for talking, for sharing. You deserve safety, not survival. But you can't create that kind of life while you're still trying to please someone who benefits from you being silent. So let this be the moment that you stop waiting. The moment you stop asking for permission to live free. Let this be the moment that you look in the mirror and you say, I'm not his prisoner anymore. You can start small. Maybe it's deleting the text that you keep rereading and keep wondering. Maybe it's blocking the social media accounts that keep reopening wounds for you. Maybe it's writing down the punishment so you stop romanticizing all the good times. Maybe it's just having one honest conversation with someone safe to be as a barrier of like, wait a second, what's happening? Maybe it's booking a call to get real support and figure out if it's the right step, without shame, without fear, without someone trying to manipulate you back into the cage. Like if you've been listening to all of this and there's something inside of you that's screaming, this is my life, then that scream is your soul begging for freedom. You can't do it alone. Like every day I work with women who, like every single day I've walked down this road, who've been punished into silence, who've been gaslit into numbness, who spent years trying to survive in relationships that are rigged against them. And I've watched many women rebuild, rewire their mindset. I've watched them heal. I've watched them rise and grow and develop to who they are. And that could be your story too. But it starts with one courageous step right here and right now. If you're ready to stop being punished and start being supported, I want you to reach out. Drop a comment down below that says the word breakthrough. That's it. That's your signal. Or if you're done waiting and you want to take control of your healing right now, then go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. You're going to find a safe space. No pressure, just a real conversation with someone, with me, who gets it, who helps you understand and wants you to move forward and to build a path for that. You've been surviving long enough and it's time to reclaim your story. You don't need his approval. You just need your peace. And I can show you how to have that once and for all. So reach out. Let's have a conversation. You've been told it's all your fault and that makes you feel crazy. No one understands you and that leaves you in a place of being alone. You've tried to break free multiple times and that leaves you helpless because nothing you've done has actually worked. It hasn't actually got you free or liberated from this toxic relationship. So you feel crazy, alone, and hopeless. Guess what? That's a lie. Because all it is how you've been raised and conditioned inside of this abusive relationship over and over. And as a result, you've sacrificed your growth, you've sacrificed your worth, and you've been trapped inside of a toxic relationship. What if I showed you the path to freedom? A way for you to actually get free mentally and emotionally from the toxicity that's happening right here, right now. You deserve more. You deserve to be able to heal. And I want to help you with that. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Schedule a call there and let's talk.